Plenty of finals on this final Friday of the Games. That's also the finale of the Destination Paris. We'll review some of the iconic moments of the past fortnight. The swimming marathons again showcasing the River Seine as the centerpiece of Paris 2024. What will Los Angeles look like in 4 years' time? Our guest in this final edition, LA City Council President Paul Krekorian. One icon many Parisians want to keep, that levitating Olympic cauldron. So, after the closing ceremonies, should it stay? Should it go? François Picard with you for the final edition of Destination Paris in the company of Daily Beast contributing editor Craig Capitas. Over already.
Keep the balloon.
Keep the balloon. We'll get back to that. Don't worry. He's pining to talk about the balloon. We're already looking ahead with our guest, Los Angeles City Council President Paul Krekorian. Bienvenue. Welcome to Paris.
Thank you, François. It's good to be with you.
All right. We begin at the French fan zone, Club France. Men's football at the Olympics, well, it's kind of like Europa League conference. The best players aren't there, so nobody cares. Unless your team is in the final. Clovis Cazaly, we're in the final.
Yes, France in the final, and they have a special coach. It's Thierry Henry, of course, from Arsenal, former Barcelona star. And I can tell you there are a lot of supporters here. Anyway, if you want to come here to Club France, very difficult. It's been sold out for days, and it's sold out until the end of the games. A great atmosphere here. And Club France, as you well know, is the place where French supporters get to see also the medalists, with French medalists coming here the day after the events, and they've all come here from superstar swimmer Léon Marchand to Teddy Riner in judo and many others.
Clovis Cazaly watching along with everyone then as the French take on the Spanish in that men's final. When we asked the newsroom for iconic moments during these games, Selena Sykes gushed about witnessing 22-year-old Frenchman Léon Marchand becoming the darling of the host nation with his 4 gold medals in the pool. Marchand, who is U.S. trained. We also had presenter Annette Young pointing to the Queen of Gymnastics, sportingly bowing in deference alongside fellow American Jordan Childs as Brazil's Rebecca Andrade won a well-deserved gold in the floor exercises. Leo McGuinn of Sports Desk fame hailed Pakistan's first ever gold at any Olympics. It was another moment of communion. Arshad Nadeem, who after setting an Olympic record in the javelin Thursday evening, posed with defending champion Neeraj Chopra of India, who took silver. Producer Luis Cabrera pointed to Mijain Lopez's 5 golds in 5 Olympics. Lopez, who literally hung up his boots, or rather left his wrestling shoes on the mat after winning gold. That was quite the moment. Craig Capitas, your moment of the games?
Cindy Ngamba from the refugee team. She took the bronze medal last night. I got to see it. She was robbed. It was a split decision. This is a big deal. Someone
Cameroonian-born,
yeah,
who competing with the refugee teams because of her sexual orientation, discriminated against at home.
Look, the short of it is, had she gone back to Cameroon, they would have killed her. Let's be clear about that. They would have killed her. She stayed in London. She found a boxing club. They said, "Ho, you certainly got it." She went with the refugee team. And this is a fulfillment of Thomas Bach's dream, IOC President Thomas Bach's dream. We have someone from the refugee team winning a medal. This is terrific.
What's been your moment of the games?
I think being in Paris and seeing the extent of the national pride that you feel every place over table tennis as well as swimming, gymnastics, basketball, all of the sports that France has been excelling in, you really see that the people on the streets are really excited about this Olympics. And for me, that, as I look forward to 2028, and think about what our Olympics will be like for the people of the United States and of Los Angeles, I hope that we'll be able to capture that same kind of spirit as well.
Well, we'll talk about it more in a moment. A lot of the Olympics has been about showcasing Paris. It's been about location. Take Selena Sykes, our reporter who's been going to the events. Earlier, she watched the breakdancing. She was at the pop-up urban park that's at the foot of the Champs-Élysées.
This is kind of the heart of where it's happening. Loads of tourists and visitors who don't even have tickets are coming here to walk around. This really is one of the most picturesque parts of Paris, right in the centre. You've obviously got the massive urban park. You can see just behind me, Place de la Concorde. With so much going on over there. Lots of people just coming to walk around to take a look around. Then you've got the Grand Palais, literally, a 10, 15 metre walk this way in front of me. There's the Champs-Élysées just right ahead of me as well. It's a really picturesque part of Paris where lots of people are coming just to soak up the atmosphere and things going on around. It's just one of the most spectacular things, isn't it, about this Olympic Games? A lot of people thought it was quite a crazy idea to have so much going on in the city centre, to convert historical monuments into venues for the Olympic Games. But listen, François, everyone's loving it. The Parisians are loving it. The tourists, the visitors are loving it. And I think it's probably going to go down as the most picturesque games ever.
Ever. You see, we're not chauvinistic at all. That kind of corroborates what you were just saying a moment ago. The games, well, they were much maligned before they began. The doubting Thomases were right here in France. Earlier, I asked James Andre if Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo's big press conference felt kind of like a victory lap.
In a sense, it was a bit of a victory lap, with indeed Anne Hidalgo saying how these games had been an enormous success, also saying that, the legacy of these games was going to endure in decades to come, that it was an opportunity to give an incredible image of the city of Paris. And we managed to interview her with Valentine Herba as she ended that press conference. This is what she had to say when I was able to ask her a question.
What I feel is the happiness of seeing my city, our city, celebrated by the French people, including those who perhaps had a fairly negative image of Paris. It's 10 years of hard work. We've just experienced 15 days of happiness that we will have again with the Paralympics. And then it will be 20 years of heritage. So it's not just a moment in time. This is my message.
James Andre, what is that heritage?
Well, what she says, Anne Hidalgo, is that basically stuff that would have taken over 20 years to achieve were done in a very short lapse of time thanks to the Olympics, saying that basically what it gave this ceremony, and of course these Olympics, was a deadline, and this deadline empowered people to react. Now, she said, it was decided back in 2015 basically to have a bid and to try and get these Olympic Games. So it's 10 years of work, and she said, for example, here on the other side of the Seine, this used to be an urban motorway. Well, now it's a park. She said, we did that in 2017, and that in a sense is thanks to the Olympic Games. She said it's been able to boost pedestrian zones, also cycling in the city of Paris. She said, 1,770 platforms were modified for buses to become accessible to disabled people. She said that would have never happened if there hadn't been the Olympic Games. And what she also said was, of course, the biggest legacy in her view is the Seine River, which has been depolluted, and she says, you'll see, next year we will be swimming in the Seine River, and that is a result of the Olympic Games themselves. Now, I did put the question about, taxi drivers complaining, restaurants complaining, and basically she said that, participation, this was her deputy saying that 20% up was the number of visitors here in Paris, and she said, don't worry, this legacy economically will endure, and these people will make all that money back.
So some money made now, more money made later. A couple of times you heard it, and you heard it in that clip of the Paris mayor, Craig Capitas. She talked about 10 years. We had a deadline and we had to do things in 10 years. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, they met the deadlines. They put on a great Olympics. But there's a downside here, and I think it would be disingenuous not to point it out. Taxi drivers, small entrepreneurs, small restaurant owners are hurting. And they're all, and I've been interviewing them, and they're all telling me they're going to the government in a month, and they're going to ask for rebates because they've lost a lot of money.
But you heard James Andre say they're going to make a lot more later.
Yeah, well, and I got some swampland in Petaluna I want to sell you. I don't believe anything a politician says, okay? Right. No. The only way to look at a politician, press and company excluded, as a journalist, is down. Okay. I don't believe it. I can tell you the taxi drivers, the small business owners I've talked to, they don't believe it. They think there's going to be a big fight. I'm not saying, or nor am I suggesting that we should have not had the Olympics here, nor am I suggesting that these Olympics were a disaster. They were a great success. But there are economic consequences when you hold the games in your city. And it's disingenuous to just say, oh, well, they're great games, and you know what? Down the road, everyone's going to make their money back. No, no, no.
Paul Krekorian?
I know this. Los Angeles is the only city in the world that has already hosted 2 financially successful Olympics Games. I expect that we'll host a third in 2020.
Will they be successful for those small business owners, the shopkeepers?
I believe so. It's been a priority of Mayor Bass and the City Council to ensure that the benefit of this Games is not merely in the areas of venues, but across the city of Los Angeles and, in fact, across the Southern California region. We've already implemented a program to ensure that small businesses have an opportunity to participate in procurement, for example, of the many Olympics-related purchases.
Is that a lesson you learned watching Paris?
No, we implemented it even before these games, largely based on the model that London created, because it was clear that a lot of the procurement for big Olympics-related contracts goes to only a handful of international corporations. And we wanted to make sure that our local businesses could marry up with those larger contractors so that we bring as much economic benefit into the city.
And Paul has the benefit of being in Los Angeles, where the games in '84 were the games of Peter Ueberroth, who set the bar and the standard for coming out of an Olympic Games with a profit and ensuring that all businesses were included within the framework of the Olympic Games. Paris was wonderful, but that wasn't the case here.
All right, there's a caveat. But again, the Seine is cleaner. Craig's already preparing his swimming trunks for 2025 when he'll take his first dip in the River Seine. Another icon of these games, the Olympic cauldron. Some even want it to remain in the skies above the Tuileries Gardens when it's all over after that closing ceremony on Sunday. Vadika Bael has that story.
It's become a new nightly ritual in the French capital. At sunset in Paris, thousands gather at the Tuileries Gardens to see the Olympic cauldron take to the skies.
This is the Paris we love, the romantic Paris we read about in books. It's like we're dreaming, it's too beautiful.
The Olympic cauldron is tethered to an enormous balloon which floats over 60 meters high. And preparations for takeoff begin around 8:30 p.m. when the ropes holding it in place are gradually released. The ring of fire is as vibrant as an inferno, yet made of just water and light.
It works by having powerful LED spotlights and small diffusers that project water. So micro droplets of water suspended, with the effect of light and ventilation, creates this new generation flame.
Some meters away sits the real Olympic flame in a lantern, having travelled from Greece to all across France in recent months. The Olympic cauldron has become one of the hottest tickets at the 2024 Games, even requiring reservations to get close to it in the daytime. Both tourists and the French public want the cauldron to be kept as a permanent city monument, but no decision has yet been taken.
Yes, so we can remember it and add to French heritage.
It's also become a social media phenomenon by those keen to capture its beauty. But not just on photo, but also on canvas, according to this painter.
It's Paris, the city of lights, and this is another light for the city. It glows, creates reflections and lights up the city. It's brilliant.
The cauldron will remain in the Tuileries Gardens until the end of the Olympic and Paralympic Games this summer, but there's no doubt it's won hearts and made its mark on the Paris skyline.
And descending from the heavens is Leo McGuinn from our sports desk. Keep it or get rid of it, the Olympic cauldron, when it's all done?
I say keep it, but you know that's more of a dreamer's point of view. Keep it, of course. It's a wonderful tourist attraction.
Craig Kapitas?
Keep it.
Paul Krekorian.
I don't have a vote in this. I'm just looking forward to lighting the torch at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum.
Okay. Paul Krekorian, president of the Los Angeles City Council, who is with us for this final edition of Destination Paris. And yeah, you know, as you know, the French are humble and understated when it comes to success, as you've seen throughout this show. Are you thinking to yourself, wow, because it's easy to have basically the center of Paris looks like a museum already. It's easy to stage Olympics here for television. Is it going to be a much tougher sell for Los Angeles?
No, every Olympics is different. Every Olympics is unique. It should highlight the city and its history, and the country, the host country and its history, and Los Angeles will do that too. We don't have anything quite as iconic as, say, the Tour Eiffel, but we have our incredible physical location of Los Angeles.
So what'll be the gathering point in 4 years?
There will be many, and it's going to be our priority to ensure that they are spread throughout the area for the reasons that we just talked about a moment ago, so that everybody gets an opportunity to benefit from the people who are visiting Los Angeles, and so that the world sees the full breadth of Los Angeles, not just the beach, but also all of the rich culture that we have, the many diverse neighborhoods that we have. We are the home to the largest diaspora of probably 30 or 40 different nations who have their largest diasporan population in Los Angeles. So it's important that the world sees that and really experiences the full rich diversity of Los Angeles.
Craig Capitas?
Well, I want to, you're also the home to the Port of Los Angeles, which has the largest trade with China, and also, of course, down south, I think in Long Beach, you have a lot of trade. Are the Chinese putting pressure on you to do certain things as they have in past Olympic host cities? Any pressure on the city council?
Not at all. And I think that would be so poorly received that anybody who thought that they could do that and create an influence would be poorly informed.
Well, let me raise a flag for you, Paul Krekorian, something that perhaps you'll have to deal with in 4 years' time. Here in Paris, we've had our hitches, like announcing the wrong Korea when the South Korean boat took part in the opening ceremonies. Taiwanese media putting the onus on claims by supporters at the Games who say they've had posters and placards ripped out of their hands by security and even other fans. Taiwan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says it's in contact with French authorities about it. It's a report by our correspondent Jan Kamazind.
In Taiwan, fans wave their blue and red national flag to cheer on the Olympic team. But in the host city of Paris, it's a different story. With Taiwanese flags banned from the Olympics since 1981, supporters have been forced to get creative. But even that can sometimes spell trouble. When this fan unfurled this homemade map of Taiwan inside one of the stadiums, she was quickly surrounded. First by a security guard, and then by a crowd member who ripped the poster from her hands. Taiwanese social media now flooded with art that shows her standing defiant in the face of this assault.
I'm really surprised and I'm really sad and angry. We're not doing anything wrong. Why would we be treated like this?
Back at home, a moment of unity across political divides, with Taiwan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs lodging complaints with the IOC regarding the treatment of supporters. The main Kuomintang opposition party has also voiced support for fans.
Taiwan's a democratic and free country, and every political figure respects the public's expression of national identity.
In the 1960s, Taiwan competed using its formal name, the Republic of China. But as Beijing's pressure grew, it was forced to adopt the moniker Chinese Taipei and this white flag instead.
Of course, we hope to use our national flag to compete on the international stage, but given the current international situation, we must make a compromise for the sake of our athletes' rights, and that is Chinese Taipei.
Back in Taipei's main station, fans watch as Taiwan, or Chinese Taipei, beats China to receive its first gold medal at the Paris Games. While most supporters want Taiwan to compete under its own flag, others take a more pragmatic approach.
We should bravely show what kind of flag we should carry and not be restricted by the other side.
It's okay if we don't have the flag, we can win the championship.
But with no national anthem or flag present as the victorious athletes take to the podium in Paris, for many in Taiwan, this victory is bittersweet.
Paul Krekorian, as a veteran of past Olympics that were boycotted by the Soviets in 1984, this is one of the political minefields that awaits you. Your thoughts on this particular row, on Taiwan versus China?
Well, you're right about the boycott, and I should note that the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles really saved the Olympic movement, and it was a great moment of international positivity. It was a moment where we set aside politics. I'm confident that LA28, our organizing committee, will work with the IOC to comply with whatever rules the IOC has. But I can tell you this.
It's the IOC that makes the final call on who can wave what flag.
In venues, yes. But I will say this. In the city of Los Angeles, we welcome all nations. We welcome all viewpoints. This will be an Olympics where within our city, we will protect people's right to express themselves.
So you can assure people that you will not instruct Los Angeles Police Department, Sheriff's Department to arrest or otherwise detain anyone showing a Taiwanese flag outside a venue in 2028,
Absolutely.
as long as it's done peacefully?
Absolutely. The Los Angeles Police Department has a great deal of experience in protecting people's right to express themselves at times of high tension. And we do that every day in Los Angeles, and we'll do that during the Olympics.
If I might briefly, it has nothing to do with your organization of the games, but I'd like to tap into your experience as an attorney at Skadden Arps, where you specialized in business law, entertainment law, sport, and intellectual property. As you may be aware, there's this thing called CAS, the Court for the Arbitration of Sport, where all the drug cases go to. And although a decision by CAS has no effect in criminal or civil law, as you know, and sorry for going down into the weeds, dear viewers, but this is actually very important. Do you see the courts in the United States, or specifically maybe state courts in California, taking up cases regarding doping during the Los Angeles Games if CAS makes a decision that someone doesn't like?
I couldn't speculate about that at all. I just don't have
what do you make of the fact
that
that
jurisdictional issues there would be?
There's been a lot of anger, and we've heard it voiced by Olympic athletes at the Chinese over getting a free pass over positive tests, and the Chinese are not countering, saying there are U.S. athletes that have had positive tests. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I've read that, and it's not something that the city has any role in whatsoever. I hope and expect that this games, like every other games, will be conducted in the fairest possible way with actual enforcement of the rules. And
but do you believe California's courts, which are liberal by nature, would be willing to hear these cases? I mean, it is a jurisdictional issue.
I don't have any idea.
No idea.
It's just not something that I've...
Leo McGuinn, we hope that they're clean. The table tennis events, for instance, the youngest of the Lebrun brothers completing the saga, the 17-year-old, with his second bronze medal, this one in the team event.
Yeah, lots of fun. Earlier on today, France securing bronze in the table tennis. As you say, they played China in the semi-finals, and if we're being honest, they were quite simply never going to win that. China have never lost a men's team event, so it was a battle for bronze, really, for them, and they secured that earlier on, as I said, led by 17-year-old superstar Félix Lebrun, playing alongside his brother, and Simon Gauzy as well. It was a bit tense. So they were 2-0 up, and it went back to 2-2, and they ended up winning it 3-2 in the end over at Porte de Versailles. It was a really raucous atmosphere. First ever bronze medal for France in a team table tennis event. So, and they'll be around for a long time. Félix Lebrun, 17 years old. His brother Alexis only a few years older than him. So France will be a power in table tennis for years to come at the Olympics.
We talk about the River Seine being the centerpiece for the games, and yesterday it was the women's marathon swimming. Today the men's, and again, half of it you have to do swimming upstream, literally.
Swimming upstream. Look, I was out of breath just watching it sitting on my couch, so I can't imagine how they felt. But I tell you what, it's a good day to be Hungarian. A gold medal for Krzysztof Rasowski. He beat his competitor by 2.1 seconds, sorry. Imagine that. They swam for 1 hour and 50 minutes and to lose out by 2.1 seconds. It's pretty brutal in the end. Hungarian came in bronze as well, David Bethlehem. So a great day for Hungary. Daniel Wiffen, actually, the Irishman who won in the pool, he decided to swim in the 10K race. He came out, he was interviewed by Irish TV straight away, and he said, I'm quite simply never doing that again. That was horrific. He got halfway, he said he felt like giving up, but he completed it. He finished 18th in the end, so it's not bad. And he goes home with a gold.
That's got nothing to do with the pollution level.
Nothing to do with the pollution, just to do with the difficulty of the swim.
And in the Is It a Sport category, break dancing making its first and possible last appearance as an Olympic sport.
A cameo is what I'd call it, a breakdancing cameo, yeah. That got underway today, and it's fun to see on TV, and it's obviously a new event for Paris. I feel like the commentary's not quite up to scratch. One thing that they could improve, we're not really explained what the different... Of course, lots of people aren't au fait with the rules of breaking and how points are given out. But it did look like fun there. And we saw Snoop Dogg, as we've seen him throughout these games at lots of different events. He was in the crowd there. So it looks like a lot of fun, but we won't see it in LA, unfortunately.
That running theme we've had over this fortnight, Craig Kopitas, over should it be in the Olympics, should it not? Breakdancing is one of them. Modern pentathlon, it was threatened for a while, and it's in the games this time. But you're saying it's the last time that horses will be?
Yeah, apparently so. And they've also brought in laser gun shooting. I was hoping that they'd bring in paintball. You know, would be more fun. More people would watch it. Pentathlon is the original war sport. Yeah. You know, and a lot of people
should stay in the Olympics.
Yeah, keep it in. It's one of the originals.
By the way, closing press conference, IOC President Thomas Bach, he says he hasn't made a decision yet on whether or not boxing remains in Los Angeles. Your thoughts on boxing?
I'm surprised to hear that. I'm a traditionalist, and I think some of those sports that were part of the actual original ancient games and have been, in the games in the entire history of the modern games should remain. I would be opposed to.
And Paul said that softball and canoeing is not yet officially set to go to Oklahoma City, which had been previously reported by many news organizations.
Still lots to go. Very briefly, in a word, what's on your menu in 90 minutes time, Leo?
We've got the 4x100 relay. That will be a great event tonight. USA favourites. Amazingly, Jamaica didn't even qualify for the final. They were probably favourites. So USA, big favourites for that. Also, women's 400-metre final will take place in about an hour's time as well. So that's a big one tonight.
Paul Krekorian, many thanks for being with us. May the best team win at basketball in the final, the men's final between France and the United States.
Well, we've been partners with France throughout this process. We will continue to be partners with France regardless of the outcome of the game. But I do want to just say congratulations to the city of Paris and to all of France for a really exceptional Olympics Games.
All right, many thanks for stopping in. It was a pleasure. Thank you as well for Craig Kopitas for being by our side for these 2 weeks. Leo McGuinn, thanks to all of you for joining us for Destination Paris. It's almost over, the Paris Olympics.